Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a total paradigm shifter from Robert Kiyosaki's legendary book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We're zooming in specifically on Lesson 1. And look, this lesson is literally designed to rewire how you think about wealth from the ground up. If you've ever felt like you're busting your back, working tirelessly, but somehow never getting ahead, yeah, you're definitely not alone. We're going to unpack exactly why that happens and, more importantly, show you the real path to true financial independence. Let's get into it. So let's kick things off with the fundamental question that basically sets the stage for the whole source material. Why do the rich just keep getting richer while everyone else seems to be working harder and harder with way less to show for it? Well, the answer comes down to a massive divide in information. Seriously, what do the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and middle class just don't? Spoiler alert, it's not about massive inheritances or secret trust funds. It's actually all about a completely different foundational financial education starting from day one. When you look at it, we really have two starkly contrasting paths. On one side, there's this conventional illusion. The deeply ingrained idea that a high salary automatically equals wealth. That's the path of working for money. But on the flip side, we have the mindset of the rich. And here's the kicker. The rich flat out refuse to work for money. Instead, they pour their energy into figuring out how to make money work for them. I know, it sounds like just a cute little shift in phrasing, right? But honestly, as we're going to see, it makes an astronomical difference in the real world. To really grasp why working for money is so dangerous to your financial health, we've got to talk about a trap you've probably felt the weight of before. It's called the rat race. You know the drill. That endless, exhausting grind of wake up, go to work, pay bills, rinse and repeat. But what's truly fascinating here is what's actually fueling that cycle. It's not logic keeping people stuck on that treadmill. No, it's driven by two very primal, totally unchecked emotions, fear and greed. Just think about the sheer anxiety of the rat race for a second. For so many people, money is quite literally in control of their emotions and, frankly, their souls. They wake up in a cold sweat with this undeniable fear of not having enough money, so they rush off to work praying that next paycheck will finally kill the fear. But guess what? It never does. It keeps them tossing and turning at night. And then, when they do get a little extra cash, that desire and greed kick right in. They suddenly want the nicer car, the bigger house, which of course requires even more money. So boom, the trap snaps shut again. They're just blindly reacting to their feelings instead of taking a step back and logically thinking about their finances. The source material uses this brilliant, albeit kind of cruel metaphor to explain this trap. Picture a donkey dragging a heavy cart, right? And the owner is dangling a carrot on a stick just inches from the donkey's nose. That poor donkey is running relentlessly, totally exhausted, chasing an illusion because it firmly believes it's gonna get the prize. In our lives, money is that carrot. The donkey's owner gets exactly where they want to go, but the donkey just gets worn out. If we live our whole lives merely chasing paychecks, we are forever chasing an illusion. We'll literally never reach actual financial freedom that way. So you might be wondering, why do so many smart, incredibly capable people end up playing the role of the donkey? Well, the hard truth is that academic success does not equal financial aptitude. Look, our traditional school system is fantastic for teaching us how to be a compliant employee or how to master a specific profession, but it completely drops the ball on teaching us how to manage money. And that is exactly why you constantly see these highly educated, professionally successful folks who are somehow still struggling to balance a checkbook and just drowning in debt. Let's try a little thought experiment from the text to put this in perspective. Imagine you took 100 average people and handed them $10,000 each right now, today. What do you think would happen? Well, by the end of the year, a staggering 80 of them will have absolutely nothing left. Nothing. In fact, some of them would have used that 10 grand as a down payment to dig themselves into even deeper debt. Now, about 16 of them might see minor, safe gains, maybe 5 to 10%, but only 4, literally just 4 out of 100 people will have the financial know-how to turn that 10,000 into 20,000, or eventually scale it into the millions. This perfectly illustrates that having more money doesn't magically solve your financial problems. Actually, scratch that. It usually just accelerates them. So why do those 80% fail? It all boils down to a massive lack of financial education. They react completely emotionally to that sudden influx of cash instead of thinking strategically. They just don't know how to keep the money, and they definitely don't have a clue how to make that money work for them. It's the ignorance of money, not the lack of it, that's the real root of the struggle here. Moving on to our next section, assets versus liabilities.
Understanding cash flow. Escaping the rat race absolutely starts with understanding this one definitive rule. Let's take a look. Okay, to map this out, we have to look at how money actually moves. Up top, we've got the income statement. That's your money coming in as income and money going out as expenses. Simple enough, right? Then below that, you have the balance sheet, which tracks your assets and your liabilities. Learning to read these two structures is basically learning to read the language of cash flow. And trust me, cash flow tells the true, undeniable story of how anyone handles their money.
Now, let's trace the typical cash flow pattern of the middle class. Income comes in from a job salary at the top, and then it just immediately flows right back out. Where does it go? Straight down into expenses and liabilities. The middle class buys things like massive mortgages, flashy car payments, and maxed out credit cards, all while mistakenly thinking they are buying assets. But here's the reality check. An asset puts money into your pocket, while a liability takes money out. Because all their cash flowing entirely into liabilities, they stay totally locked in the rat race. And this grim reality powerfully demonstrates the standard employee path. Think about it. When you work for a paycheck just to fund your liabilities, you're essentially working for everyone except yourself. First off, you're working for the company, making the owners and shareholders rich through your daily grind. Second, you're working for the government because taxes take a huge bite out of your salary before the money even hits your bank account. And third, you're working for the bank, just endlessly paying off the interest on your mortgage and credit cards. You become this amazing wealth-generating machine, just not for your own family. But here's the secret of the rich. They focus their energy entirely on minding their own business. And by the way, that doesn't mean opening up a little retail shop on the corner. It means focusing relentlessly on building their asset column. They spend their time acquiring real assets that generate income that more than covers their living expenses. And then, what do they do with the surplus? They take that extra cash and reinvest it right back into the asset column to buy even more assets. It's a totally different game. To actually build up that asset column, we really need to understand the three distinct types of income. Number one is ordinary earned income. That's your standard salary, the money you actively trade your time and labor to get. Number two is portfolio income, which is generated from paper assets like stocks and bonds. And number three is passive income, usually coming from investments like real estate. The big takeaway here is absolutely clear. If you want to break free, you've got to shift your focus away from relying entirely on ordinary earned income and start actively pursuing portfolio and passive income. That right there is the literal definition of making your money work for you. So, how do we practically apply this in our lives starting today? Well, you can create your own financial luck by following these steps. Step one, mind your own business by actively, intentionally building your assets. Step two, you've got to overcome that paralyzing dogma of saying, I can't afford that. Instead, challenge yourself to ask, how can I afford that? That simple little flip forces your brain to wake up and start finding creative solutions. And step three, continuously invest in your financial intelligence. Read the books, go to the seminars, start small, and learn how to actually manage risk instead of just running away from it. We're going to leave you with this final, provocative thought. You've been given two incredibly powerful gifts, your mind and your time. Every single day, with every single dollar that passes through your hands, you are making a fundamental decision about your destiny. You, and only you, decide whether you're going to be rich, poor, or middle class. So, what choice are you going to make with your very next dollar? Are you going to buy another liability, or are you going to invest in an asset? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and we really hope this breakdown has sparked a completely new way for you to look at your financial future. Keep learning, and we'll see you next time.